All right, so it's, in this video, we're gonna go over the, what did I say, zucchini, right? Zucchini recipe. Okay. So when you're getting ready to get ready for your project, what I would recommend is that when you come to the semester project, if you right click, okay, at your menu here and open the menu set in a new tab, right click on the worksheet, the AP to the copy of the Chef Tech inventory list, the volume to weight conversion, for project notes. So those four things. Your worksheet, which is what I gave to those of you who are in here in class in here. This worksheet, every single recipe is gonna have one of these type. Okay? So your final project is gonna be this type. So what I would recommend is go ahead and download it. If you want to print it out and do things on paper or handwritten for right now while you're working on the project, that's fine. But just keep in mind at the very end, everything needs to be fully typed, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and download this so I can work on the sheet for the purposes of this assignment or this video, okay? And then remember again, you want to have your menu, the Chef Tech inventory list, the food calculator, and the semester project notes. Okay. So the first thing we want to do is let's go to our recipe and let's find the recipe for the zucchini. Okay. So I'm going to split my screen so I can see both. So for the zucchini, for the recipe, you're gonna type in what the recipe is titled on the page. So grilled zucchini. Mushroom and peppers. Okay. That's pretty much all I need in the 32 servings. Everything else, portion size, cooking method, recipe source, I don't need to know any of that for the purposes of this project. Okay. If you are a culinary arts major or you are a restaurant management major, you will see this form again in a future class. At that point, that chef in that class will tell you kind of how to fill out the rest of this information. Okay, so when you're filling this out, go ahead and just fill out the ingredients in order so that way you don't forget anything. So I'm gonna say zucchini, yellow squash, mushrooms, red bell peppers, orange bell peppers, red onions, olive oil, dried thyme, and garlic powder. Okay. And on the amount side, just like what it says here, so 2 pounds. You can abbreviate if you would like to. 2 pounds, 1 pound of mushrooms. Red bell peppers is 3 each. Orange bell peppers, 3 each. Red onions, 3 each. Olive oil is 2.5 ounces. Dried thyme is half a teaspoon. Garlic powder is half of a teaspoon.
Mister, can you zoom in?
What's that?
Can you zoom in a little?
Yeah, let me, now that I have it typed here in Word, let me zoom in that way.
I'll do that. Green light.
All right. So I'm gonna pause the recording for a moment. Once you have all this information typed, then you can copy. Control C is copy. Come down here to the ingredient and paste it. Okay? You don't have to hand type every single ingredient all over again. Copy and paste makes your life a lot easier. Okay? Same thing with the amount needed. So we come here, we highlight, right click if you want to copy. I also use the Control C. And then come here to amount needed, Control V as in Victor is paste. And you're it's done a lot faster. Okay? Questions, comments, concerns so far? All right.
No.
So let's do the next thing that I'm going to encourage you to do is to check your semester project notes. Because for each recipe, there maybe are some specific ingredients that I used on the Chef Tech inventory list. So let's look for that. We've got the grilled zucchini right here. Okay. So for the mushrooms, it tells me to use the button mushrooms, the Chef Tech inventory list. And it also tells me that the raw onion average weight is 4.34 ounces. That's going to become important here in just a moment. Okay. So next thing we got to do is fill out our as purchased. How much did we buy these ingredients for? Okay. So coming through our zucchini, remember when we're on the Chef Tech inventory list, Control F is going to pop up this little search box up here. Okay. What I would recommend is that you don't necessarily spell the whole word, especially a word like zucchini that's very, very commonly misspelled. Just do the first couple letters. Okay. And it's going to find it. It's very small. Okay. If we look at the zucchini squash is $2.20 per pound. Okay. Zucchini squash. So $2.20, and the amount is 1 pound. Okay. That's what we put right here in the purchase cost and purchase amount. Okay. Shayla, you're gonna use the butter that's like 90 something dollars or something. The one that says 36 pounds. All right. So for the yellow squash, right above it, yellow squash is $2.85 per pound. I know it's really small, so I'm gonna write it here so you can see. $2.85 for 1 pound. Okay. What kind of mushrooms are we looking for? Button mushrooms. So button mushrooms are $4.10 per pound. And then we have bell peppers. When you're searching, it does not like to have multiple words. So pick one word, like peppers. It'll show you all the peppers. And just keep hitting enter, or maybe peppers only has two. So let's go look at pepper. There we go. Pepper without the S. Red bell peppers. Oh my gosh, we have two red bell pepper options. Should we use the one that's $2.20 per pound? Or should we use the one that's $1.10 per each? Per pound.
Perfect. Each.
Why?
For 3 each in the recipe.
Yeah, what is our recipe amount?
Oh, small.
3 each, right? So make it easier on yourself. Don't have to do a lot of conversions. So $1.10 each. That way your units automatically match. Okay? Orange bell peppers are 101 each. Okay? And then we have red onions. So I'm going to use the word red. Keep hitting enter until I get to red onions, which is 165 per pound. Okay? Olive oil. Olive oil is 18 cents per ounce. Fine. Now, when I'm doing time, if you look at the search box, it says 1-4. What does that mean? What does 1-4 mean? I know it's kind of hard to see, it's small, but right here it says 1-4. That's the first of 4 times, right? So all we have to do is hit enter and it'll get us to where we were looking for, okay? Now this one right here in particular, the time is 175 per ounce, but if we look around there, what is this? What are all the other ingredients around there looking like? They look like fresh, right? And we're looking for dried time. So you want to make sure that we look for dried time at $1.36 per ounce. Okay. So just because that's the first thing that pops up on the list doesn't necessarily mean it's the exact ingredient you're looking for. So $1.36 per ounce. So time is $1.36 per ounce. And then the last one is garlic. Garlic powder is $4.93 per pound. $4.93 per pound. All right. So now we are pretty much ready to start doing math. We haven't done any math at all yet, right? This is all just kind of getting things set up. So now it's time to do some math. Okay. For those of you, I gave you this sheet. Okay. On this sheet right here, it has the QR code for the website that has the conversion from volume to pounds or volume to weight. Okay. And then at the top right here, I have this AP to recipe. Okay. And then what we have is essentially our AP. Oops, I did it too far over. This is our AP. This is the recipe. Okay. And then this section where it says recipe unit cost. Our goal is to get down to the cost of 1 unit of our recipe. So then once we get in the cost of 1 unit of our recipe, whatever that unit is, all we have to do is multiply whatever's in here times the amount needed, and that gives us our ingredient cost. Okay? So if we do this, I'm going to do my I'm gonna do something real quick. Insert a shape. This in white. Okay. This way I can do my AP on the same page right here. So AP to recipe. Now, if you email me and say, Mr. Uminski, I'm not getting the right answer, I don't know where I'm going wrong. If you don't show me any work, then I can't help you. Okay, so I need you to show me the work, and ideally, you would show me in this AP to recipe format. Okay, so let's start with zucchini first. Okay, what is our as purchased? You combine this right here, so our as purchased is $2.20 per pound. And how much do we need? 2 pounds. So my first question is, do my units match? Pounds and pounds, right? My units match, I'm in good shape. So now I have to get down to the cost of 1 pound. Well, guess what?
There you have it.
It's already in the cost of 1 pound. So all we have to do is basically combine this into this one, $2.20 per pound. We're basically combining the purchase cost and purchase amount column or fields into one. And now, since we're in the cost of 1 pound, what do we have to do? Just multiply straight across. So 220 times 2 is 440. So that's the answer I'm going to put right here on the ingredient cost, $4.40. Okay. For the purpose of time, I'm going to skip yellow squash and mushrooms. Why?
Same thing.
It's the same thing, okay? So let's jump over to red bell peppers. So bell peppers as purchased to recipe. My red bell peppers, I have $1.10 each. And what's my recipe amount?
3.
3 each. Do my units match?
Yes.
Awesome. Okay. So my units match. So I come down here and I just do $1.10 each. And now I can multiply straight across. 110 times 3 is $3.30. Okay. I'm also going to skip. Well, I'm not going to skip it. I want to actually do the work. So this becomes $2.85. This becomes $4.10 per pound. Can somebody do on the calculator for me 285 times 2?
70.
$5.70. Okay, and then 4 times 1 obviously is $4.10. My orange bell peppers are similar to my red, so $1.01 each. So that's $3.03. Okay. Red onions. Now we're gonna get a little interesting. AP to recipe. What is my as purchase for red onions?
Pound.
$1.65 per pound, okay. And my recipe unit, or my recipe is
Each.
3 each. Do my units match? No, each in pounds. They don't match, okay? But if you recall, on the discussion notes, the project notes, what does it say about onions?
The average weight is 4.34 ounces.
4.34 ounces each, okay? So now I can multiply 4.34 ounces times the 3 that I need. And that will give me my total number of ounces that those 3 onions on average are going to weigh. So 3 times 4.34 gives me what? 13.02 ounces. Okay. So now do my units match? Pounds and ounces. No, they don't match, but can we easily convert between pounds and ounces? Absolutely. Okay. Now, question you're going to ask yourself. Are we going to convert the 13.2 ounces into what it is the equivalent of a pound? Or are we going to convert the $1.65 per pound, the cost of 1 ounce? Which one do you think we're going to do?
Cost per ounce.
The cost per ounce. Why?
Easier.
It's so much easier to convert, right? Now, if I had 12 ounces and I divide by 16, that's 0.75 of a pound. That's very easy, right? That's a great clean conversion. But I've got 13.02. That's not a very clean conversion. So we're going to do what you guys said. $1.65 divided by 16 ounces. Why are we dividing by 16 ounces?
That's how
Means a
much
pound.
it is.
Because that's how many ounces are in a pound. Okay? So when we do that, when we divide that, we're going to get our cost per ounce. And if you look at my calculator right here, it is 0.1031. Okay?
So we're going to the fourth underneath.
Well, so we're gonna only do 2 decimal places, right? And so this is what I'm having students do. If we have more than 2 decimal places, what I'm having students do is circling or highlighting that second number. Okay? Everything to the left, everything over here to the left stays the same. Okay? Everything stays the same. So we've got the 0.1. Everything to the right goes away because we round this one up to the nearest penny. So this is actually 11 cents per ounce. Okay? All that stuff to the right kind of gets absorbed when we round up to the nearest penny. So whatever that highlighted or circled number is going to be, just increase that value by 1. So now 11 cents per ounce, that's what we're going to put right here in this recipe unit cost. And this red onions, 3 each, is equal to 13.02 ounces. Okay. So did you see what I did there? I kept the 3 each. I just says equals. I just typed in equals 13.02 ounces. Why do you think I did that?
You know how much we need.
So we know how much we need. When I'm costing this out, I need to know the 13.02 ounces. But when I'm making this recipe, is it going to be easier for me to go get 3 onions, or is it going to be easier for me to weigh out 13.02 ounces of onions?
So grab the
3 onions, right? So that's why I want you to keep both of them on there, because I'll be able to see that you did 11 cents times 13.02 to get your answer. But if I was going to make this recipe, give this paper to any one of you, you could easily just go grab the 3 onions. Okay? So let's look at that in the calculator. When we do 11 cents times 13.02, in this case, this is equal to $2.7748. Okay, so again, remember, I want you to highlight that second number or circle it, whatever one's easier for you.
That makes sense. It being two.
It's 1.4322.
Maybe I typed in my calculator wrong. 0.11 times 13.02. 1.43. Thank you so much for catching that.
I was so confused. I was like, wait.
Thanks for catching that.
Now I got 1.44.
Okay, well, hold on, we're getting there.
Okay. Because I want that extra penny.
Okay, so when we're highlighting, remember, I want you to highlight or circle that second decimal number. Okay? Everything to the left stays the same. So it's 1.4, that stays the same. The highlighted number goes up by 1, and then we cancel everything else out. So this is $1.44.
So,
Yes.
so we're showing our work on the paper with this, or
Nope,
is
you're
this
not
just
showing
doing
your
our
work.
This is us just doing our work and highlighting, just making sure we round up.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
So you don't have to do the highlighting, the circling, all that kind of stuff. You don't have to if you don't want to. But some students that struggle with the concept of rounding up, because if you look at it, normal math rounding says that we should leave this a 3 because there's 2's after it, right? But every 5 times that I make this recipe, this 0.2, this 2 is going to add up to a whole new penny every 5 times I make this recipe. And as we know, costs add up over time. Okay, so that is how we get to $1.44. Any questions about that one? We did kind of go into a little bit more detail on that one. Obviously, it's a lot more challenging. All right, olive oil, 18 cents per ounce. Do our units match?
Yes.
2.5 ounces. So what are we gonna do? We're just gonna combine 0.18 per ounce. And now we can multiply straight across. Okay. 0.18 times 2.5, 2.5. 45 cents. Pretty straightforward with that one. Okay. Now,
Conversion, geez.
we're going to use the conversion on these next two so you can kind of see how that works. The conversion website does not allow for fractions. You have to type in decimals, okay? But if you want to know what a decimal version of a fraction is type it in exactly like you see it. So what is the fraction that we have for the teaspoons?
0.5.
1.5, right? Which we know is
5.
0.5. So if you want to know what that is, look, 1 divided by 2 is 0.5. And the reason why I tell you that is because there's going to be some recipes that's going to ask for an eighth of something. Okay? So 1 divided by 8, the fraction is 0.125. Okay? So anytime you want to know what the decimal number is of a fraction, just type it into your calculator from top to bottom. Okay, and then I'll give it to you. So now let's go over to our conversion website. Okay, now before I do that real quick, why do I know I need to go to my conversion website? Because it's a dry ingredient, okay? If I have teaspoons, cups, pints, those are all volume measurements. So if it's a dry ingredient and I've purchased it by weight like we have here, I have to go to that website, okay? If not, then I cannot use the conversion that 1 tablespoon equals half an ounce because that's a half of a fluid ounce, okay? Does that make sense? Cool. So big if this olive oil had said that I need 2.5 tablespoons, would I have to go to that website? Why? Maya, you're shaking your head no. Why?
That website is only for volume.
Well, so the website's going from volume to weight, right? If olive oil is 2.5 tablespoons, that's volume, right? But do we need the website? No. Because what's our conversion for tablespoons?
2 tablespoons equals 1.
2 tablespoons is 1 ounce, right? Or 1 tablespoon is half of an ounce, right? So we can do that conversion because olive oil is a liquid. So if we see tablespoons, we can, and it's a liquid, we can go half an ounce. If we see cup and it's a liquid, we can go 8 ounces, right? We know that conversion. But if it is a dry ingredient, we have to go through that. The only exception on this project is going to be your honey, because we buy honey by the weight as well. So you have to use that for the honey, even though we think honey is a liquid, okay? So let's go over and do dried thyme and garlic powder. All right, so we need how much? Half, right? 0.5 US teaspoon. And I'm gonna say garlic powder. Okay. So check this out. Spices, garlic powder, I only have one option. So I'm in good shape. Okay. The first time you use this, you have to set your precision to 2. What that precision to 2 means is I'm going to give you 2 decimal places. The answer is going to give me 2 decimal places right here. Okay. So can I use pounds for the garlic powder? No, because it's 0. So what is it per ounce? 0.06 ounces. So this half of a teaspoon is equal to 0.06 ounce. Oops, that is the wrong one. Okay, that's 0.06 ounces for my garlic powder. Okay, let's do dried thyme since we're here. I'm gonna type in word thyme. Dried thyme. Come down here and it's 0.03 of an ounce. Okay, so 0.03 of an ounce. All right, questions, comments, concerns so far? All right, so now we can do our AP to recipe. AP to recipe. Dried thyme is $1.36 per ounce, and my recipe is 0.03 ounces. Okay. Fortunately, we're already in the cost per 1 ounce. So our units match. And let's just multiply $1.36 times 0.03 ounces. What is this going to be? 0.0408 is going to become
0.0408.
0.05,
Oh.
right? We're going to round up that 4 to the 5. It's going to be 5 cents. You all understand how that works? Especially on this one, because you're like, that's a 0, Mr. Uminsky. There's no sense, but remember, we're talking about money. So all that stuff on the right side of this 2 right here, of this 4, sorry, oops. Highlight instead of draw. Everything on the left side stays the same. Everything on the right side is going to get absorbed when we increase by 1 penny. Okay, so that's going to be 5 cents. Yes.
Give it a point if you're under 1.
It could count it incorrect if you're under by 1 penny. Sometimes I give a margin of error from between a penny to 3 pennies, right? So if you put in 4 cents, it may count it correct, okay? But in the total, when you add everything up, then it might count it incorrect down there because you might be outside the margin of error down there, which we're going to talk about in just a second, okay?
So I already did it and it gave it to me.
Okay.
And it gave me the
Because
total,
I have
but
to
here's
do
the
them.
thing. I used the money from the time, the actual fresh time, and I still got
That means you're still within that margin of error. All right, so that means you got lucky. That doesn't necessarily mean you did it correctly. That just means you got lucky.
I'm still counting.
All right. So the last one is our garlic powder, $4.93 per pound on the home stretch. And we need 0.06
We'll
ounces.
divide that by 16.
So, yep. So do our units match?
No.
No, so we gotta get to the cost of 1 ounce. So we're gonna divide this by 16 ounces.
0.31.
So $4.93 divided by 16. Okay. We're gonna look at that second number right here. And so we're gonna round that up to 31 cents per ounce.
No.
31 cents per ounce. And now we can multiply straight across. 0.31 times 0.06. And that's gonna be what? 2 cents per for the cost of that. Right? Because we're gonna round that 1 up to a 2. Okay? So now that we have all of that information, to get our subtotal, we just add everything up. So $4.40 plus $5.70 plus $4.10 plus $3.30 plus $3.03 plus $1.44 plus 45 cents plus 05 plus 02. 22.49. Double check to make sure I did my math correct. Do we all agree? $22.49. That's my subtotal. Okay. My Q factor is gonna be 5% of my subtotal. Okay. So I'm gonna take my subtotal and multiply by 0.05, and that will give me my Q factor. Okay. Remember, each step of the way, we're going to round up to the nearest penny, so $1.13. Our total recipe, we're gonna add together $1.13 plus 22.49 is 23.62. Okay. Then our portion cost. We're gonna take the total and divide by the number of servings, which in this case is 32. It's gonna be 32 for everything. All recipes in this project are set to 32 servings. So I'm gonna take $23.62 divided by 32. I get 74 cents. 74 cents. Let me check the chat. Yeah, so our Q factor. What that basically means is that $1.13. Okay. That's like a little bit of a safety factor. Let's say if we need to add more garlic powder, or let's say we need to add maybe, oh, you know what? We don't have anywhere on here. We don't have any salt. So maybe we want to add some salt to this, right? This $1.13 allows us to have a little bit of wiggle room to where that cost of those extra ingredients are already built in. So we don't have to go back and recost out our whole recipe. So that's what the Q factor is. Okay. Chef Costello, like when you do like recipe development, that Q factor can be pretty high because as you're testing and doing new recipes, you're always adding extra ingredients, okay, to keep in part of that. But once you have your recipe already kind of set, 3 to 5% is about as high as you need to go. But again, that just allows you to cover those costs, right? What if the person that is making your recipe doesn't actually measure out half a teaspoon of garlic powder and they just sprinkle it, right? There's a good chance they could use more than half a teaspoon. And so that's what that $1.13 comes into play. It helps kind of cover those additional costs. Okay? So 74 cents is our total. Now, what do we do from here? Now we're going to test this with our recipe, our quiz. Okay? So I come up here to my quiz. I'm going to go side by side so we can see. It should be in order. Okay, most of them are. I guess somebody told me that one of my quizzes things are out of order, so I apologize for that. But things should be in order. You don't need to put in any dollar symbols, okay? Any dollar signs, just type in the numbers. You'll notice as I click away from this, it takes that 0 away, okay? Don't stress about that. $5.70 is the yellow squash. $4.10, okay? Now, I am intentionally going to switch my bell peppers. Do that intentionally right now, okay? Red onions were $1.44. Olive oil, 45 cents. Dried thyme, 5 cents. 2 cents for garlic powder. Come down to my subtotal, $22.49. $1.13. $23.62. And my cost is 0.74. Okay. So I want you to do the full quiz all at once. The first time, do the entire quiz. Okay. Now, I look at my results. I have 11 out of 13. I missed 2 questions. Now, of course, I know which 2 they are, but that is the purpose of why your quiz has 99 attempts. Okay. So I missed 2, right? Which ones did I miss? The bell peppers. Okay. So now when I do it again, I'm not going to try to do both bell peppers. I'm only going to focus on the first bell pepper. Okay. So I'm going to go back to my notes. I'm going to look at my work. How did I do it? Okay, let me go to that bell pepper. And the red bell pepper was $3.30. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and hit submit. Canvas is going to tell me, hey, you've got 12 unanswered questions. That's okay. I got 98 more attempts. Okay. The reason why we're doing one at a time is because as I scroll right here, if it says 1, that means I got it right. If it still says 0, that means I got it wrong still, okay? And you can try that with each individual ingredient, okay? If you try to do 2 or 3 ingredients and then it answers and you got 1 right, well then which one is it right? You know, so just do 1 at a time. And then we're gonna preview it again. And we're gonna put the 303 in for the orange bell peppers. Canvas is gonna say you've got to answer questions, that's okay. 1, that means I got it right. Now that I have them all right, what do I do? Go back and answer them all and get a perfect 100 on my quiz. Okay? So what is my expectation for these recipes?
100.
Everyone should have 100 on every single one of these recipes. Okay? Because you have 99 attempts. If you have a problem where you are missing an ingredient over and over again, please email me. Log into my office hours. Come into class during this time, right? A couple weeks ago when I was traveling back from Missouri, I jumped on Zoom at 2 o'clock while I was waiting for my flight in Atlanta, and I helped like 3 or 4 people with the red onions. They're having issues with that, right? And then at 6 o'clock, I logged in again. I think I was helping Shayla online via Zoom. Okay, so tonight we're going to be in person. Next week we'll be in person. I think the next 2 weeks. Just double check that. Hold on. I feel like the 23rd has something. Oh, it does. 23rd is the taco contest competition. So tonight and next week will be in person and on Zoom. The 23rd and 30th will be Zoom only. But you can still log in and I can still help you. It'll be Zoom only. Okay?
Hey, sir, I got a quick question.
Yes.
Um, do we need to send all our paperwork into you, other than what we do online?
Nope.
So all this everything that we've done on the quiz is as verification that we completed everything, correct?
Exactly.
Okay,
Yes. Yep. Exactly.
okay. Thank
So
you.
yes, any questions?
Wait, that confused me, sorry.
Yeah, so I'm gonna show you right now. I'm gonna stop this video because this was all about the zucchini. Okay. I'm gonna stop this video. I will post it as a separate